Alright, and we are live. So whenever you're ready, Captain.
Captain's log, stardate 8269.5. After narrowly escaping the energy dampening field that trapped and ultimately destroyed the USS Aegis and her crew, the Argo is back on course for Trillius Prime and will be arriving in a few hours, assuming that nothing else occurs to delay us. End log.
Alright, so we're going to start this scene off. I can find it here. Now, Captain, we last left off, I believe you were in sick bay. Have you returned to the bridge?
Yeah, I would have headed back up. This is the same, we picking up right where we left off, or?
Pretty much.
Okay.
You're still on your way to Trill. Okay. Still a few hours, about half a day's away.
Okay. Yeah, I would have continued my walk about the ship, and then headed back on up to the bridge.
All right. So we're going to start out in sickbay. All right, Doctor. You've been going through sort of your routine checkup on Leza, but you do notice something strange. Her seems to be forming tears around her eyes.
Well, as long as her vitals are what they should be, I guess I'll just very professionally produce a handkerchief and dab away at her eyes so she's not crying anymore, but don't think there's much I can do. I mean, I have a hunch that, it's something with the symbiote, but I can't really do anything about it.
True. I mean, you could, if you want, you could perform another test on her if you like, or you can just let it be.
Yeah, as long as the vitals are where they should be and she's not showing signs that this is the imminent, synaptic failure type cascading problem. Yeah, it's just something that I stay very professional about, and unfortunately she has to suffer from it. This is one of those things where, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
All right. Moving on, for Cerule, last thing we left off was Corey kind of had an episode, if I remember correctly, a psychosis episode of seeing things and violent reactions. Currently, he is asleep per sedatives and semi-induced coma almost. The other three, they're showing signs that they are starting to return to some normalcy.
All right. But Corey, he hasn't woken up again and done another screaming episode, right?
Right.
All right. Well, I mean, as long as no other symptoms are manifesting, it's pretty much the same thing, just maintaining and making sure that their needs are cared for. This is one of those rare instances in sickbay where we don't have things on fire. Of course, I say that, and I expect a fire to show up.
Just then, a fire shows up.
Quick, Doc. Somebody to threat. Fire erupts in sickbay in the lab. Chemical spill.
Oh, God. How did it even...
That's a joke. That is a joke.
I will do one thing though, because it is important. Both Cerule and Marlowe would check to see what our current ETA is to Trillius Prime.
All right. You come up to the bridge.
Yeah. Cerule would probably just check the computer, but Marlowe would definitely check with the bridge. So Marlowe to the bridge.
I assume it would be me or Mira answering. So, this is Lieutenant Sonadell.
What is our current ETA to Trillius Prime?
Huh. Give me 1 second. I gotta do some math. About 13 hours?
Very good. Please let me know immediately if that changes in any way.
Okay.
Sickbay out.
And talking to the doc reminded her, and she reaches down beside her console and takes out a hypo and jabs herself with it.
Okay. You are still in your EVA suit, though. By the way, I don't think you took it off because I believe the doctor hasn't given you permission.
Never mind then. Then I am emitting all kinds of pheromones in my EVA suit. Okay, that's fine.
Well, I'm sure there's a spot where you can administer medication through.
I was about to say there'd almost have to be.
So I'm not
Well, that she does
concerned
that.
about that. Okay. So, on the bridge. So for the rest of this first scene, if there's any roleplay you guys wish to do, feel free to do so.
Yeah. Is the captain back yet? I assume?
Sure.
Oh. Is there any chance we can take off these suits? It's getting kind of itchy.
Haggard to sickbay.
This is the doctor. Go ahead, sir.
Doctor, Lieutenant Sanadell and I'm sure Mr. Morgan and Commander von Wartburg as well are all wondering what the status is vis-a-vis these environment suits they're having to wear. How long will they have to keep them on?
None of them are displaying any symptoms that you see, right, sir?
Correct. They appear to be as normal as they ever are, Doctor.
Very well. To err on the safe side, let's keep them in the suits until the end of shift, and then they are clear to, I guess, leave them behind. Just make sure that they are properly decontaminated in the process.
Understood, and thank you, Doctor.
Of course.
I assume everyone heard that?
You get a harump from the con.
I know it's uncomfortable, Lieutenant Sanadell, but it's only a few hours more.
Yes, sir.
Think of it this way. In the early days of space exploration, in your planet as well as mine, astronauts had to stay in suits much more uncomfortable than the ones you're wearing now for much longer periods.
Yeah. I'm aware, sir.
Commander von Wartburg.
He can't talk right now.
Right, I'm just waiting to see if he's going to chat. There he goes.
Huh?
I'm walking over to the Science/Exo station. When we get to Trillius Prime, I'm going to try and see if I can't get some more information out of the Trill government, Prime Minister Vohan for one, about these Zinkethi and the secondary species, which they seem particularly secretive about. What was the name of the officer that you spoke with, or the minister that you spoke with in the Trill government?
Say again?
What was the name of the minister that you spoke with, or the officer you spoke with on Trill, trying to get information about the species in this sector?
GM, I don't recall the name off the top of my head, but I think the guy did tell me.
It was a liaison officer, sort of. Honestly, I forgot the name. I really did, because I made it up on the fly.
Yeah. Sir, it was a liaison officer with the one of the various functionaries at the embassy.
Understood.
And from what I was able to gather before, there's not a whole lot about this Zinkethi on our files. I sent word to the Trill government to see if they can illuminate more about them, but their Federation doesn't seem to have run into them.
And we've been relying on the Trill for information on this sector for too long, I think. And they said they mentioned another species, but all they really told you was that they'd had some trouble with it.
Yes, they didn't even give us a name, really. Just sort of we encountered somebody, and I'm not cleared to talk about it. I had him running up the chain, but without someone with importance like the ambassador speaking for it, I don't know if I'm going to get a response back, but it's in the system. Our request is officially on paper, so.
Very good. I find it interesting that they were less willing to talk about one than the other. See if you can dig up anything else with your maybe with your contacts or just in our database on this system. I have a feeling that we may not have seen the last of this sector of space.
I can tell you now, sir, that we have very limited information on this sector of space. Starfleet Security and their through intelligence have been very dependent on our Trill liaison in this sector, simply because we don't really have a Federation presence here in the sector. We're kind of, this whole alliance with the Trill is kind of the cornerstone that will help us get a lot more information on this sector than normal, and reason to send more ships out here. As far as I'm aware, sir, we're also like the only ship, pardon me, we're the only Starfleet vessel assigned to this sector right now.
Well, write up a report about all that, if you would, Commander von Wartburg. I'm going to recommend to Starfleet Command, particularly in light of the attack on Starbase 621, that we extend Starfleet's presence in this sector, and I'm going to request that the Argo be assigned here. We need to stop relying on the Trill for so much, I think.
Well, if they sign the agreement, sir, they'll be part of the Federation like any other, so they'll have to throw in their fair share like anyone else. But I understand you, sir. I already am working on the report, the written report, that also adds to the verbal report I gave you earlier.
Excellent, number one. I know you're anxious to get out of that outfit as well. Just try and bear with it for another few hours, and the doc says you're free to move about normally and hopefully catch a shower.
I don't mind it too much, sir. Been EVA suiting before, though I will say it is not the most comfortable thing to be sitting in for hours on end. I'd rather be standing, but that's neither here nor there, sir.
All right, everyone. Keep eyes peeled. Let's hope nothing else happens to delay us. I've had about enough of that on this trip.
Anything else on the bridge?
It's really all I had, GM.
Yep, I'm tapping buttons.
Doc.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Remember that fire?
Les's brainwave patterns start becoming erratic on the monitor.
And there it is.
All right. She's still in the coma, though, right?
Correct, but her brainwaves should are higher than normal.
Because at this point, I think she's so under that bringing her out of it would cause more problems than I would know what to do with. I think at this point I would call back in our mind meld specialist.
All right. I believe Valop is currently in the hallway.
Anybody
So, you know,
got a particular hankering to player?
I think you just volunteered.
I guess I did. All right. Your sheet up there. Okay.
And yeah, I would sort of calm Avlop if. Oh, good, you're here.
Sorry. You called, Doctor.
Yes, it's still our same patient from before, except this time she's, as you can see on the monitor, she's exhibiting some rather high brain activity, which shouldn't really be possible given the fact she's in a coma-like state, and I was hoping you might be able to shed some light on that.
A mind in a sedated situation is oftentimes far more difficult to reach, and even when you do reach it, we're more often dealing with the subconscious and less logical thought processes than normal. But I am willing to try. Okay, this is the second time we've activated Avlop, so I think I'm going to give her the mind meld talent.
Sounds fair.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so let me read that real quick. I guess we were assuming she already had that talent, because apparently you're not supposed to do it without it.
But I was going to pretty much force you guys to take it
Okay.
on the first activation.
So, okay. So I will. And do you want me to attempt a double meld, Doctor, or just with Lieutenant Tazal?
Just her for the time being. I think the symbiote has made its own wishes clear, and hopefully that'll be easier for you.
So Avlop will center her mind and then place her fingers on the appropriate pressure points on Tazal's face. My mind to your mind. My thoughts to your thoughts. We are one.
I'm going to need a... There's no... Okay. Say reason or insight plus command. Difficulty
Plus
1.
Difficulty 1, okay. Yeah, it's 50-50 shot. There we go. Even got
Okay.
some momentum.
Yeah, gain 1 momentum.
details. Got it. And with her eyes closed, Avlop, her thoughts are confused, and I must see if I can calm her, get her to focus without drawing her out of the coma. Tazal, our thoughts are one. Use my thoughts to steady yours. I am the ladder that you may cling to. I will try to project calm and reason, kind of structure.
Let's make this presence plus command difficulty 2.
Presence plus command difficulty 2. Okay, I'm going to spend that determination to get a third die. I do have focus. Okay, that works. Oh, she's hot tonight.
You get that momentum back. Things seem to calm down somewhat, but the issue you're having is because she's also in this half sedated state. Like I said in the message earlier, she should not be processing this much in her state.
So, does this activity seem to be coming from... Do I just sense a single mind at work here, or is there another mind beyond R2, the symbiote, in other words?
More than one. Let's put it that way.
So you mean more... Okay, sorry. So more than one, like the different minds of the symbiote's lives, like we've got multiple minds trying to interfere?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I try to, I guess the equivalent of bolster her mind's defenses against the intrusion of these other thoughts by kind of, strengthening her semi-conscious mind with my fully conscious one to help create a mental barrier against these intruding thoughts that are causing this activity?
Not in the state that she's currently in. She would need to be more conscious.
Okay. Can I tell what, if anything, these other thoughts are trying to do? Or if there is any kind of unified purpose? Just chaos in her mind, Avlop says aloud. It is chaos in her mind. I very gently withdraw from the mind meld and look up at the doctor. Doctor, it appears that the minds, for lack of a better term, of the multiple lives lived by the symbiote are running rampant within Lieutenant Tazal's mind. There does not seem to be any specific purpose to their activities. They are just chaotically moving through, and with her mind in such a subdued state due to the sedatives, I cannot help her build mental defenses to keep them out and push them down. But the readings you are detecting are from this activity of not just one mind or two, but many.
So in a sense, would you say this is more like a dreaming state, seemingly random access memories, or would you say that this is more post-traumatic stress disorder type flashbacks.
It's difficult to say, Doctor, but from my experience, this level of mental activity should not be possible in the state she is currently in. Her brain should be much calmer and much less active.
An out of character, I'm debating. Do I bring her up a consciousness level but still unconscious so you can talk to her and work on the shoring up of her mental defenses, or do we leave her to her fate? Because I'm worried if we bring her up and we don't bring up the symbiote, there could be problems.
Doctor, could this be part of the unwilling joining process?
And I can't imagine the fact that the symbiote is unwilling is helping matters at all. You know what? Marlowe's daring, so he'll say, very well, I am going to bring her up into a deep sleep rather than a pure coma, and hopefully that will be enough for you to work with her to shore up her mental defenses.
Avlop would like to try and create an advantage by mind melding with her before the doctor brings her up, so that I can help control her level of consciousness and kind of help Dr. Marlowe adjust the sedative levels to a point that will let us work with her mind but not wake her up too much.
Okay. This is going to be probably control plus medicine. Difficulty 2, and I will allow Volop to assist with a command plus present.
So, I guess my question is, wouldn't Avlop be the primary on this? Not the assist? Or did I hear that incorrectly?
Well, I think Avlop was trying to just sort of help control and ease your mind while you were doing sort of like bringing her to the proper level, or bringing her sedative down.
Okay. All right. So remind me again, I'm rolling what medicine?
Control plus medicine.
Okay, I wanted to make sure because I thought I heard daring. Okay, does xenobiology or chemistry still apply here?
Yes.
Okay, and the difficulty was a
2.
2. Okay, I'm just gonna go for it. There's 2 successes.
You got it.
And you bring her sedative levels down. Vlop, the thoughts in her mind become less chaotic. However, she jolts up and her eyes wide open.
Is she fully awake?
She is fully awake. And she lets out an intense scream of pain, and you feel this wave of emotions come over you.
I will try to use my Vulcan training to calm her and order her thoughts, since we are linked, as I would order my thoughts against a surge of emotion.
It's going to be a difficulty 2, command plus presence.
Command plus presence. I'm going to take that momentum for a third die. Okay. I'm glad I did. So, got it.
And She slowly starts to calm down. Her breathing, it was sort of erratic, has stabilized, and she starts to fall back asleep.
Okay. But still to that new level of consciousness?
Yes.
Okay, I'll see if I can't now reach out to Lisa's mind and show her / help her build mental defenses against the intruding thoughts, and to reinforce her sense of self.
Okay. Just trying to think of what this would be. Let's make this control plus command, difficulty 1.
Control plus command, difficulty 1. Okay, just gonna risk it with 2 dice. Aha!
Gain a momentum. And she, in her mind, the chaos subdues.
Is the brain activity, from my perspective, coming back down to where it ought to be for her physiological state?
No. She's just controlling the chaos better.
Okay. Doctor, while I have managed to help Lieutenant Tazal shield her own mind using Vulcan techniques, the symbiote itself is the root of the problem. It is those thoughts which are causing Lieutenant Tazal's increased brain activity, and even in defending against them, her level of awareness requires a higher brain activity.
Add a character. Remind me, how long do we have until the joining process is permanent?
You have 30 hours.
Okay. Well,
Perhaps, Doctor, I should try a meld with the symbiote?
I was about to suggest that. If you would, just limit it to the symbiote. See if it is in any way capable of limiting the flow of information. Otherwise, I might need you to stay here with me until the situation resolves itself.
Understood, Doctor. So I will carefully withdraw from Tazal's mind and making sure that she's able to keep the barriers up herself, and then attempt to mind link with the symbiote, with the call.
Okay. So, how you want to do the mind link or the mind meld with the symbiote here? Are you wanting to gather information, or are you wanting to try to control it in some form?
I'm not really wanting to control it. I want to see if I can, on some way, I know it's sedated, communicate with it and see if I can get it to, or help it to control its own thoughts, and quit bombarding Leza. But I don't want to try and force it to do it. I'm trying to, contact it, let it know what's happening, and help it to get its own self under control.
Let's go with reason plus command.
Reason plus command. What's my difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be 2.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to take that momentum again for a 3rd die. Oh, no such luck this time. But no complications, except
I'm
now there
spending. Now there are. Velop, as you're trying to communicate with the symbiote, your mind is racked with the sheer amount of pain as you let go of the mind meld, and you're in a state of fear.
So she staggers back, kind of into this corner here provided by the console and the wall, and kind of with her back up against the wall, kind of hunkers down into a defensive crouch, her eyes wide, looking around wildly, skin pale, even paler than normal.
Chief, you're gonna need to calm down. What's happening?
Is anything specific frightening me, or is
It's just
GM?
nothing suspicious. Yeah, I cannot
Specific?
talk. Yes, it is. You're just racked with just a emotion of fear.
I can't. It's just there's no.
I wouldn't do this normally, but she's one of my own, and I think this is the quickest way to handle the situation. I'm gonna walk up to her and try to get on her level, and I'll try shaking her and say, "Focus. Use that Vulcan discipline of yours. You must resume control."
Shall I make a roll to resume control, or shall I continue acting out afraid?
Yep. You can. It's going to be a control plus command difficulty 1.
Okay. Ha! Not so much.
Velop is still terrified.
So, and somebody's grabbing me and shaking me, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, she will just lash out in defense.
All right, cause I think this is one of those times where you gotta get the sobering slap to the face. So
Vulcan healing trance, eh?
Yeah, opposed daring security, I guess, and whoever succeeds gets the attack in.
Yep.
Well, she's not doing too hot, so you probably got her. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Well, we got 2 momentum, so there's
You
that.
did.
Smack. Oh. All right. So that was what? Can I make another roll after the smack?
The question is, like, how hard is this?
I was wondering if you were gonna make me roll it.
Debating.
I mean, I don't want to like leave a mark on her cheek or anything, but it does need to be hard enough that it hopefully is enough for the pain, the sense of pain, to refocus her mind.
So, I'll let you spend 1 momentum, and I will taper the challenge dice to half. I think that's fair.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably good because I am rolling 5 die on this.
Yeah.
So,
Because you're pretty butch.
so am I rolling 2 now or 3?
2. We'll round down.
Oh, all of 1 damage.
So, Velop takes 1 stress damage. How does Velop react to that?
Does it snap me out of it? What was that? Presence and command?
Control plus command.
Control command difficulty.
I'll say it would be I said it was 1 last time, so we'll make it difficulty 0.
Okay. Ha, now I roll
Nice.
all sorts of momentum. Okay, as the doctor reaches back to slap again, because Vulcan healing trance, my Avlop's hand shoots up and grabs his wrist. Thank you, doctor. I am myself once more. And let his wrist go.
Yeah, I crack a smile and I say, "Of course, and apologies for having to be rough with you, but I figured it was the best way to knock you out of it as quickly as possible."
Apologies are not necessary, Doctor.
Well, what can you tell me? What's the situation with the symbiote?
Uh, the mind meld failed. The symbiote is its thoughts are in chaos, and its multiple lives and multiple. On Vulcan, we would call it katras, are going in all different directions, as you humans might say. I can attempt another meld, but it will be difficult.
No, after seeing what a failed one did to you just now, I'm hesitant to do so.
And one thing you should know, Doctor, above all of the katras, uh, the entirety of the symbiote's mind is afraid. It was that which gripped me, a terrible, terrible, non-specific fear.
Well, Chief, go catch some fresh air, do a walkabout for a little bit, and when you come back, I'm going to need you to stay here and do what you can for Leza's mental defenses, and hopefully we will only need to do so for the next 12 hours.
I raise a slightly quizzical eyebrow and say, I fail to see how walking will provide any fresh air, Doctor. The air circulation system is the same throughout this deck.
It's a human thing. It's a colloquialism that basically taking a walk around, it refocuses and resharpens the mind. It gives you time to process events.
Ah, I understand, Doctor. Thank you for explaining.
Of course.
She'll take a little stroll around Deck 7 and then return to help the doctor monitor the patient.
And by the time she gets back, I've got a chair for her, so she doesn't have to stand the whole time.
Very good. Okay, totally might make a Vulcan ship's counselor one day. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, Vulcan counselors are really fun.
Doc, as Vlad starts doing her walk around the ship to clear her mind, give me a reason plus medicine difficulty 1.
Focuses or no?
Trying to think. Probably might have one. I would say the xenobiology counts.
Which means we have one floating.
Noise.
Oh dear. I go to my nearest comm unit and I say, this is sick bay to bridge.
This is Lieutenant Sonadell.
Lieutenant, what's our current ETA? I know I just asked, but I'd like to be double sure.
As of now, very, very helpful. About 10, sir. Oh, higher than 12? Okay. 12 and a half hours?
Well, and of course, the captain and the first officer can override this command, but I'm ordering you to quite literally push the engines, redline them harder than you've ever redlined them before.
And you get the most excited squeal you have ever heard. Yes, sir. And she does it. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
And
Believe that.
Oh,
Doctor, what is going on?
the situation with the ambassador has accelerated. We have now less than 15 hours before the situation is irreversible. We need to get there as soon as possible. And I will quite literally take responsibility if that means we burn out our warp core permanently.
Stand by, medbay. Mira, get me the chief engineer, please.
Martel here.
Of course, sir.
We have a medical emergency that is deteriorating at the moment. Is there any way we can push the warp engines to stay at full red line for 15 hours? Or any high increment thereof? Without stranding ourselves.
Number one, we're at 12 and a half out now. At maximum warp, it should be less than that. So can you give us 10 hours, Chief?
Can I give them 10 hours, GM?
Potentially, yeah.
I just want to
I mean,
fly this ship
emergency
really
warp is
fast.
rated for 12.
Okay. Captain, with how much we've been pushing it, 10 is the most I can give you. Unless you really want to melt a warp coil.
I look at the XO and kind of, just do a very slight shrug. Well, no promises, Chief Engineer, but we certainly don't want to drag her back to Utopia Benicia in too bad of a shape. So keep an eye on things and let us know if we can catch something in the buzz. The last thing we need is to come to a full stop. I'd rather have to slow down for a little while than coast along on impulse. Lieutenant Sonadel, you may give her her lead.
Yes, sir. And she hits the button.
Bridge to
Hits the
medbay.
mini buttons.
Medbay's still here.
All right, don't know if you heard that, but we are engineering things we can pull off maybe 10, 12 hours. That's the best we can give you. Hopefully we can get, we should be able to get there in well enough time, but.
I will have to make that work. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then I guess when Avlop comes back, I need to have a difficult conversation with her.
I would say about this time, Avlok comes back. And
Okay.
Avlok, as you enter the sick bay, you're kind of shoved a little bit as inertial dampers didn't quite catch up to the insane increase of speed.
Hang on just a second, guys. I got to step away real quick. Sorry.
Alright, well, while that's going on, still in sick bay, the other 3 survivors from the crash begin to wake up.
Are they screaming or?
No.
Okay. All right. So Sarul will go up to whichever one is waking up first and say, "Easy there, easy there. You've been through a lot. Are you feeling okay?"
I think so. And this is Murphy talking.
Mm-hmm.
Why does my
Sorry.
head feel like I got hit by a freight train?
Well, in a metaphorical sense, you kind of did.
Kind of like with his eyes squealed and just kind of makes this odd face of, seriously? And he's like, what?
Long story short, your ship crashed, we rescued you, and you were being affected by some rather nasty spores.
Oh. I remember the crash and us trying to get the survival equipment, and then kind of it.
Well, maybe it's best that you don't remember. Your friend here, and I point at Corey, if he wakes up, let me know, but he may have received the worst of the effects.
I see. Is he gonna be all right? He's my best friend.
We'll do everything we can to treat him, but we're kind of in a wait and see scenario at the moment. Then yeah.
Very well.
Back with Marlowe. Once the chief comes back, I say, Chief, this is something that I would like another person's opinion on before I do anything too rash here. While you were gone, I did a routine check, and the joining process has quite literally doubled in rate. I believe it is related to the fact that the sedation process, while it is helping at least somewhat with the trauma of being joined unwillingly, the problem is that it has accelerated the joining process altogether. So my option the only option that I see is to quite literally bring them out of the sedation, and in a sense, I guess you would have to call it torture. She would have to be conscious the entire time.
Perhaps I might be able to help. If I mind meld with Lieutenant Tazal, I might be able to lend her some of our Vulcan pain techniques. It would help her reduce the pain, although it would mean taking on some of it myself.
Well, I can at least give you some pain relievers, but again, this is not something to be entered in lightly. By all medical ethics, this will be inflicting harm.
I do not see that there is any other choice, Doctor, and please do not administer anything to me that might cloud my mind. I will need every bit of focus that I can muster, and Vulcans are conditioned to pain. So Avlop's going to actually kind of move the med bay into a kind of upright seated position and slide herself behind Lieutenant Tazal, resting Tazal on her chest, so that they're both kind of laid back in the bed, and make the mind meld as the doctor brings her to consciousness.
All right. And I would like to spend the 2 momentum to create the advantage that whatever pain reliever I do make for the chief does not affect her ability to mind meld. But it does hopefully at least make it so that she's not in tremendous pain.
The pain!
Okay. Sure. I will count that as an advantage on the roll.
Cool.
So this is going to be a control plus medicine, difficulty 1, assisted by Valop with a control plus command.
Okay.
Well, we're right back at full momentum.
Yep. And you bring Leza out of her Leza and the symbiote out of their sedated state completely. And her Velop, you can feel her mind returning as she's waking up. And it's just a flood of emotions that's entering her mind.
All right. Since our minds are joined, I use the Vulcan logic techniques, calming techniques, to process and deal with this emotion and overlay it with logic, and take on some of the pain and some of the, and guide her mind through these steps with my own, doing some not quite Kolinar, but the traditional Vulcan meditative and calming techniques.
Okay. We'll come back to that later. We're going to jump to the bridge. We're entering the next scene, so you guys go down 1 momentum.
Okay.
So, my chief engineer here, you've noticed there's some power irregularities. No, can't say that right now. I don't know why I can't talk today.
Irregularity.
Apologize. Yes. Yep.
Okay. Can I isolate where the irregularities are being found?
Give me an insight plus engineering.
Oh,
Difficulty 1.
great. Great.
Gain momentum out of it. They seem to be coming from deck 8.
Decades.
And then all of a sudden you notice that the ship's power goes down by 5.
Ah.
You lose 1/3 of your power resources.
Takes us down to 9.
Just say the word, I'll get on that bike again.
Martel is going to literally grab Anders and Paz and say, "You two with me, deck 8 now."
Alright. You head to deck 8, and on deck 8 is actually where the secondary reactors are at. Or well, your fusion generators for the saucer section are. You arrive into the room where the reactors are at, and they're fully lit up. Everything seems normal.
I'd like to run a quick level 3 diagnostic.
Okay. Give me reason plus engineering, difficulty 3, assisted by the ship. Computers plus engineering.
Okay. I'll spend a momentum to roll 3 dice.
All sorts of momentum.
Well, you're capped. That's for sure, and I believe that's
2 over.
2 over. Yep.
Ask all of the questions.
Or use it to create an advantage.
Yeah. Let's see what information I get first. Okay.
Do you care to share with the class?
1 second. I'm trying to figure out how I would do so.
I'm just kidding. You know.
Okay, is there a way to uh control how much mass is put into the secondary reactor? Basically adjust it so
Mm,
less is being put in.
so, I mean, this is a fusion reactor. So if you know anything about it, it's literally an artificial sun. So it's
So,
pretty much just hydrogen inside there. Um, technically, there shouldn't be any added mass, even with the flow at its current operation.
okay, flow regulator,
So
yeah.
that's your one floating. Um, the second part of that question here, though, is with how the generators work. If you decrease the flow in there, essentially you're technically going to lose containment, and the reactor is going to shut down. It's a very delicate balance.
Right.
Are the elements present actually what are supposed to be there? Obviously not.
To answer that question, yes, all the elements there present are there that should be, according to the computer.
All right. I'm gonna hit the wall panel next to me and go, Martel to the bridge.
Haggard here. What's going on, Lieutenant Commander?
Something's weird with the secondary reactors. I've got a buildup of atomic mass inside the core. It's making it heavier than standard specs. It's still stable, but it should have shut down. I'm debating on whether I should take the secondary reactors offline and try and solve this problem.
Will that affect our ability to maintain emergency warp?
It shouldn't.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Literally goes, it shouldn't. I mean, the standard warp core is operating just fine. It's just this one on deck 8.
But with that offline, we'll lose some of our power reserves, correct?
Yeah, we've already lost some of it, sir. We've lost a third of it already. I'm thinking it looks like this is not delivering power as it should. It's going to take some troubleshooting, sir.
Well, do as you think best, engineer. Please keep us advised.
Aye, sir. And the first thing I'm going to do is take the secondary reactors offline and
Hold that
diagnose
Hold that thought. We'll come back to
boy.
the sick bay real quick. Cerule. Corey wakes up, and he is in a panic. Quite literally, from his medical-induced coma, he is in a panic, screaming, and his 3 compadres are looking at him in horror. He's flaying his arms around, and
Well, I guess Cerule will kind of come over and try to get a hold of him and kind of shout at him, "It's okay, you're safe here. What's going on? What are you seeing?"
you don't see them? The lights, they're everywhere!
There are only 4 lights.
No.
Oh, you
Yay.
set that one up, GM. You walked
I
right into
did.
that one.
I know I did. No, no. They're everywhere. They're flying around. They're trying to kill me.
Ironically, Cerul's gonna get an idea that Doctor just had. Slap.
All right. Or a dairy plus security.
This is how we treat people in my sick bay, apparently.
Apparently.
And I've pushed the button for the damage roll. I guess I'll roll it manually.
You do succeed.
He only takes 1 damage.
And from that, he takes that and he takes a wild swing at Cerul. I'll roll a third dice here. Oh!
That there be a complication.
It is a complication, but go ahead and roll for Cerul. Well, you do hit him. Depends on what you do, but with the complication, as he swings and misses Cerul, he literally falls over out of the biobed.
Well,
That's how you use the environment to fight.
We don't have a second Vulcan, do we?
Sure we do. We got all sorts of
For
Vulcans.
Mind
750
meld?
people here.
Actually, there is somebody you could use to calm him down, but it would calm everybody down.
You're gonna have to be a little more specific unless you're talking about bringing an Orion female in here.
No, Sonadel. Deltans, I think, are.
You don't have the
like-
pheromones.
Oh, that's right. I can't. Never mind. Scratch what I
You
said.
have them, but you can't
But
use them.
I don't have them. Have them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not yet. I will.
What about Morgan? Do you have the...
Yeah, he's the same.
Okay.
Okay, do we have
Soon.
any Delton in the supporting crew that could help?
Nope.
Well, I think what Cerul's going to do is she's going to tap her badge and somebody can play Ansas. And she'll say, Lieutenant Ansas, please report to sickbay. I need you immediately. Because apparently we've had Ansas this whole time and nobody's used him.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah. I'll be right there.
And yeah, I think Cerul would try to enlist the help of Corey's friends to see if they have any way of trying to get him to calm down.
They're just looking at him in terror. Like, they don't know what to think. And Murphy's like freaking out, kind of.
Huh. So, oh. Okay. Never mind. Sir? Do you need help restraining him?
Yes, I need you to help me get him back into the bed and restrained him.
Alright, hold on. Oh, he's already been sedated. Alright. And, he
But
will
he's still
help
up.
push him down.
He's
Yeah, he will
in the-
still...
He's in the fetal position, kind of in like a defensive type fetal position.
Okay. Yeah. He'll help, and then I guess we'll restrain him with bed restraints when we get him back on the bed?
And that works for me.
Okay. Yep.
Don't touch me! Get away!
Sir, if you don't quit thrashing, you're gonna hurt yourself. I don't.
Go away! You have to get me off the ship. I need to get off the ship. I can't be here.
Well, if we let you off this ship, where would you go? We're in deep space.
Give me a
Our
presence
entire
plus
medical
command.
staff is Oh man. No. Okay.
Difficulty
All
2.
of our medical. Okay, I'm going to spend 3 momentum. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what happens. This will be fun. Oh, it's not too bad.
Get 2 of it
Damn,
back.
look what I was rolling.
You have to keep them away. Just keep them away.
Keep who away?
Them! Don't you see them? They're everywhere.
Ah. Well, how about this? If we get you on this bed, we can put a force field around you and nobody can get to you. Huh? You'll
Give me
be
a
safe in
presence
that
plus-
force field.
Presence plus command. Difficulty 1.
Yeah. The same deal as before. 3 momentum.
So you're down to 2. Up to 3.
Back up to 4. Or 3, yeah.
3.
Oh, yep.
Promise me they won't hurt me.
I promise. Nobody's gonna hurt you except yourself if you keep thrashing about.
And with that, he kind of relaxes.
Alright. Cerule, if you would.
Yep. I make to pick him up and put him on the bed.
Activate the quarantine force field around that bed. If you would, please.
I mean, I'm assuming I either push button or tell the computer to do it, and hopefully it comes up.
Yep. Oh.
Alright.
And yeah, he just kind of takes a deep breath. Just okay.
And over to Valop and Morrow, but go ahead real quick before you switch there.
Oh, I was just asking if Cerule wanted me to stick around.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea because Cerule has been operating nonstop for quite a while.
Okay, that's fine. He will stand over here and just keep an eye walking back and forth, you know. Cerule, if you want to get some rack time, I can watch them from here.
I will go take a quick cat nap.
Wah, wah.
In the EVA suit. Okay. Over by Marlowe and Valop. Leza, she is fully awake.
Is she saying anything?
She's not. She's kind of breathing heavy,
Mhm.
with still doing the mind meld. Her thoughts are a little bit chaotic as she's just getting these waves of different emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And she does start crying.
Okay, and connected as she is to Tazal, Dr. Marlowe also sees the tears start running down Avlop's face out from underneath her closed lids as she kind of chants, "Logic is the cement of our civilization with which we ascend from chaos using reason as our guide. Logic is the cement of our civilization with which we ascend from chaos using reason as our guide." Kind of doing the Vulcan calming and reasoning techniques. What am I getting from Lisa's mind?
Mainly, it's thoughts of her grandfather. They're not hers, but her grandfather's of when she was young, her parents, and then it's memories that she doesn't remember,
Mm-hmm.
but what the former host remembers.
Right. Can I try and help her and bolster her mental shields against these the thoughts of these others, kind of like I did earlier?
And she just kind of, as she's kind of gaining control, she tells you, "Stop, please stop. I need to see this. I need to feel
Okay.
this."
Okay, so I stop and let it, but I stay connected to help if needed.
And she just kind of just in that more upright position. She just kind of does some breathing type exercises. She breathes out as she's just collecting her thoughts and seeing these memories.
Okay, yeah, I'm just going to, be a comforting, strengthening presence, and let her do the driving in her own thoughts.
Okay. Is there anything Mara will do?
Other than making sure they're not in any danger of, going into cardiac arrest or flatlining or otherwise in peril, I'm just sort of monitoring the situation.
Okay. All right. I think we'll jump back to the bridge here. Was there anyone on the bridge that they wanted to do before we jump to the next scene?
Yeah, Commander von Wartburg, I think, had some scans.
Okay, so I was looking to do some scans of the surrounding space to see if anything might be influencing our secondary reactor, weird anomalies, spatial distortions, that sort of thing.
All right. Reason plus science, difficulty 0. This is by the ship's sensors plus science.
Oops, turn off my mouse. There we go.
And remember the advanced sensor suites on the ship, which reduces the difficulty.
It's already a 0.
Oh, duh.
Can't go below 0.
Yeah.
Underflow error. Wait, that makes the difficulty too high. Never mind. Ignore that. That was a programming joke, everybody. Ah, hello, dog.
Oh, you're back at max.
Woo!
I'll ask the preview question just because I can. There doesn't have to be a ship dock onto us or following us or anything like that. I don't think so, but yeah, I didn't think so. All right, then I will do a scan of the secondary reactor, see if there's anything I can detect it with the ship's sensors that might help the chief engineer.
Be a momentum spend, but I'll just give it to you. Don't worry about that because you don't really see anything.
All right. Captain, I've done a scan of the surrounding area. Everything's all clear. There's nothing that should be influencing our secondary reactor. And I pointed our ship sensors at the secondary reactor as well. I'm not seeing anything that the engineer probably isn't seeing himself. I'll try to keep you updated if anything arises. Although I do recommend perhaps Mira here could contact the Utopia Planitia, see if there's some old faults that they just never got around to fixing.
Excellent idea, Exo. Insamira, make it so.
Understood, sir. And she gets on that.
Lieutenant Morgan.
Sir.
Just to be on the semi-paranoid side, let's do a security sweep, make sure everyone is and the crew is present and accounted for where they should be. I'd hate to overlook yet another saboteur after so much experience.
You read my mind, sir. And I do another sweep.
Okay, so, yeah, it's going to be reason plus security. Difficulty 1 is by the ship's sensors plus security, which would make it a difficulty 0.
Boom. Reason security.
You're pretty much already overflowing with momentum anyway. Everyone is accounted for.
Sir, it looks like all personnel are present and accounted for. I can't see anything out of the ordinary.
Excellent. Keep an eye out, Lieutenant Morgan.
Yes, sir.
And Lieutenant Morgan, when opportunity presents itself, I'd like you to dig into the false identities of our 3 saboteurs, Beckett, Green, and Solek. I'm very curious to know how they got past Starfleet's background checks and security checks.
You got it, sir. I have my security personnel currently asking around the ship, trying to gather as much information as they possibly can about the saboteurs. But as you said, I'll also dig into their histories and see if anything weird comes out.
Yeah, we know that the Green Star Sisters were contracted to provide false identities and backgrounds for some other operatives, perhaps in Starfleet R&D. So anything you can find in the records that might provide a flag for Starfleet's investigations would no doubt be helpful.
Sir, this also begs the question. I mean, if they were able to use false identities and false backgrounds, normally in most situations like this, it isn't just the actual saboteur or infiltrator. In many cases, they have support inside the organization that eases their entry into the organization. So I'd also suggest, if you would let me, sir, reaching out to Starfleet personnel and then seeing what I can find there.
It's an excellent thought, Lieutenant Morgan. Make it so.
Thank you, sir. And I proceed about my work.
Lieutenant, be sure to, during your investigation into the sisters, look up Wolf 01 in the computer. That's the research data I've done on them so far. It's only preliminary, but it should give you a bit of a head start. And if you run into any trouble from Starfleet intelligence, let me know, and I can start pulling rank on some of them.
Sounds good, sir. Thank you. And so, yeah, as mentioned, I proceed about my work. GM, I guess you can just let me know when I happen upon anything, or do you need me to roll at all?
It's kind of going to be like an extended task over a period of time.
Okay.
Not going to do a roll on it right now. So, but I would say you would start going through and setting everything up to work on that.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Go to the next scene, and we're back in sickbay. Just as you got, the containment field and everything, and Corey kind of looks not at you, but just kind of his eyes are darting around everywhere, and he kind of signs with relief for a second, and then his eyes kind of open wide or open in terror, and he starts swinging his hands around. He's like, "No, get away, get away, get away!" And he for a moment stops, falls back in his bed, and then he starts convulsing.
Oh, okay. He runs and drops the medical quarantine, and I don't have the science book open because I know there's anticonvulsant drugs in there.
There is.
I've got it
Yeah.
right here.
He administers one of them after he drops the force field. I just can't remember the name of it, and I don't have the computing power to pull it up.
I've got it right here.
Just as you administer the convulsing drug, his vitals flatline.
No.
I already throw a neural stimulator on him and try to shock him back to life.
Oh, did you wake up from your nap?
Yeah, I did say a cat nap.
That's fair. And you could have been on one of the other beds. Oh boy. Yep.
So give me daring plus medicine, difficulty 5.
I can assist, but I really think Cyril should be making this roll.
Oh, I agree. So she has a value, which we can use. She also has practice makes perfect. Once per scene after the character has succeeded on a medicine task related to the treatment of a patient, reduce the difficulty of the next medicine task relating to that patient by 1. Would you say that that applies here?
Probably not, because it's not the... I don't think it applies in this situation. Mostly it's been psychological type treatment that's been going on. This
Fair.
is different.
Well, let's see what we can do. We have, 5 momentum?
Yep.
So I will give you all of it plus 1 threat to roll 5 dice. Triage. Well, let me take that back. I'll spend the value to get the 2 free successes. Who dares wins. And then I will give you 5 momentum, no threat, to get the remaining 2 die.
Okay.
And then triage as a focus.
Yeah, triage
both
is a
of
focus.
us.
I'll allow it. Usually it's in the midst of multiple people, but
One person suddenly dying.
Well, that's 6 successes for Cerule.
Yeah, he didn't help much. He held the hypo spray while the nurse did the work.
you do bring him back, but he's still convulsing. You get 1 momentum, by the way.
Yeah, I give him the anti-convulsion drug.
No, stop that. That's what caused it in the first place.
Was it?
It is now.
I thought he didn't. I didn't have a chance to give it to him. He just convulsed himself to death.
Okay.
Dilavine?
I was gonna say Cordrazine.
Is it his heart?
Well, he did just flatline.
And dangerous, powerful chemical.
I mean, I could also do Tricordazine, but
Yeah. What about Lectrazine, which is used to stabilize cardiovascular and renal systems?
possibly. But I think it's meant more for radiation stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try Cordrazine. It is a stimulant, but if it's a chemical that's messing with his metabolism or his brain functions, then Cordrazine is probably the best bet.
Okay. You inject him with that, and
And
His
what? Sorry,
convulsion-
you cut out.
his convulsions get worse. No effect from it.
What were these people exposed to?
You haven't heard the briefing about the spores yet?
No.
Long story short, bad spores, people are idiots in away suits, they get exposed, they have to get drunk to be fixed.
Was that why the commander and...
We'll talk about it later. Cordrazine
Yeah.
didn't work. I will try Alkazine, since that is neurological damage treatment.
I actually think it was the other one, the renal failure and the heart failure one, but that's me.
Well, at this point, it's either his brain is not properly working or there's something attacking his mind. So,
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you inject him, he stops convulsing, but his body goes limp.
but not dead limp, just unconscious limp.
His heart's beating.
I do a
Yeah.
neuroscan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's check his neural functions.
Give me a reason plus medicine difficulty 2.
I'll do that one. Radiology. I'm doing a brain scan. Still counts. It's like a CAT scan.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I will take a momentum for a third dice. And yeah.
Gonna amend something here real quick.
Very well.
I'll just send this part to you, and then I'm gonna tell you the rest, and you just have to roleplay it out. On that note, on his brainwave, looking at like in terms for the brain, there are massive amounts of lesions in his brain. Lesions, as in, have you ever looked at a MRI before? They're essentially giant white spots, and it's pretty much almost encompassed his whole brain.
Cyril, as much as I'd enjoy saving this man's life, look at these scans. You see the burn patterns? That's most of his nervous system. And they appear to have been... That is odd, though. It seems that they've been burned from the inside of him.
Yeah, that is her value. Cerule is going to go over to the nearest comm unit and Cerule to bridge.
Haggard here. Everything all right, Cerule?
Sir, we haven't encountered any strange life forms or gone through an anomaly recently that we aren't aware of down here in sickbay.
I look over to XO/science officer. Commander?
Not since the plan, Captain. That was the last Xeno encounter we had.
Not since the spores on the planet's surface.
Well, sir, at first I wrote off one of my patient's paranoia as related to the spores, but I'm starting to think that they may have been seeing something that, for lack of a better term, eliminated them. The patient is more or less brain dead at this point, and I worry that if this isn't a external actor, that we're looking at a very serious condition that could spread to anyone on that away team.
Understood. Commander von Wartburg, get a full description of what the patient reported to Lieutenant Sorrell, and see if we can modify ship scanners to perhaps check for whatever it was he saw.
Very good, sir.
And coordinate with Lieutenant Morgan as well.
Captain, this is Dr. Anassis.
Yes, Doctor?
There is no sense prolonging this man's suffering. Basically, he's requesting the permission of the captain to put him out of his misery.
Do you have access to this man's logs or personal wishes in this matter?
Unfortunately, he is currently brain dead, Captain.
I'm afraid that it's not our place to make that decision, Lieutenant. That will be up to his family.
One moment, Captain. Cyril, you saw that, right?
Sir, since I've got you on the channel, the lights in sickbay just flickered, and while I know we just had that whole power situation earlier that the doctor was oh so happy to get on his bike for, it is curious, sir, because the patient did report some strange light activity that we were unable to verify.
Hold the line. Haggard to... what's the chief engineer's name? Haggard to Martel.
Martel here.
Chief, I've just gotten a report of some sort of illumination fluctuation in sickbay. Are your readings showing anything? Any sort of power fluctuations on Deck 7, Section 12?
I'm getting EPS disruptions throughout the ship, sir.
Could that cause lights to flicker?
Yes.
Be advised, these disruptions may be caused by an outside source. We may be dealing with some sort of non-corporeal or energy being.
Aye, sir.
All right, everyone. Intruder alert.
Lieutenant Morgan, could you focus on scanning the ship to see if the ship for any unusual life forms? I'm going to focus on the med bay and check the sensor logs there, see if we can narrow down if there was anything there.
Okay.
Sure thing,
real
sir. I
quick.
can rescan.
The ship
sorry.
does come out of warp. The ship does come out of warp, and you're pretty much just outside of Trillius Prime.
Sir, I recommend quarantine until we're sure that we're safe to be transporting anybody. I don't know if we can safely say we can transport them. That said, I would run my recommendation by the chief medical because they know more about the ambassador than we do.
Make it so, XO.
This is the bridge to the chief medical officer. Please respond.
This is Marlowe. Go ahead.
We seem to have a situation with some of your patients that may indicate that there is another medical threat to the ship that would, other than the spores, are reports of seeing things, and there seems to be some odd power fluctuations aboard ship. We've announced intruder alert on that basis. However, I just advised the captain to uphold a quarantine status, given that we don't know what is causing this and if this might spread to the Trill themselves. But I also advised them that we needed to run it by you since you have more medical knowledge and know the ambassador's condition more than we do.
I just sort of take a glance at the gals on the bed and, sigh very deeply. It is audible sigh, and I just say, all right, normally I would agree with you that a quarantine needs to be upheld here, but as soon as we get to Trillius Prime, I don't care if... Oh, hold on, I got a private message from the...
I just told you how long.
Okay,
She has.
okay. If we're not at Trillius Prime within 6 hours, we will have a diplomatic incident on our hands, and we cannot delay any further from that. We will have to either beam the ambassador down for treatment, or, as I said, we have a diplomatic incident.
Lieutenant Sanadel, sorry, base standby. Lieutenant Sanadel,
Sir.
how long would it take to shuttle down a patient to Trillius from, say, high orbit?
45 minutes? Hour? Tops? I could push it to 30 minutes if I'm the one flying, but...
All right. Medbay, I've been advised we are currently approaching Trillius and we can go into orbit with it. But I do admit that it would take about no more than, say, an hour for us to shuttle your patient down. But I don't know the ethicality of holding someone during a quarantine longer than we need to. But that is the information I can give you. It's your call, Doctor. You want him to take him down, we can take him down. But I would rather wait.
So the doctor thinks. He thinks about his mentor, Dr. McCoy, and realizes that McCoy would say, "Damn it, Jim, I need to save this man," and says, "We're taking the ambassador down to the planet. Quarantines be damned."
Noted for the log. Sonadel, arrange for a shuttle to go down immediately. Pending the captain's order, of course, sir. I nod to him as if I have remembered. Whoops, I'm not the commanding officer right now.
Thank you, Commander. Ensign Mira, please contact Trillius Prime. Advise them we have a patient ready for transport and find out where they want us to transport this patient to. Please also advise them that the status of the patient is severe and under a time limit.
Captain, would you like me to pilot the shuttle down?
Indeed.
Yes, sir.
First, get us in a standard orbit.
Yes, sir.
Mayor response,
And
understood, sir.
And Haggard to Marlowe.
This is Marlowe. Go ahead, sir.
You can go ahead and transport your patients to the shuttle bay. As soon as we get landing instructions from Trillius Prime, Lieutenant Sonadel will be joining you to pilot you and your patient down.
Very well. And please make it known to Sonadel that what she may see during this flight, she's not to say to anyone for the rest of her life.
Understood. Haggard out. Sonadel, you heard?
Yes, sir.
All right. So as soon as you establish
Mira
orbit,
just looks. Sorry.
What
as soon
what
as you
girl
establish-
isn't exciting without her secrets?
That, I suppose so, Lieutenant. So once you've
Mira
assumed
looks
standard
to the
orbit,
commander.
I will put us in standard orbit, Captain.
and then head on down to the shuttle bay.
Sir.
GM,
Yes.
can I get a scan of the med bay and or a examine of the sensor logs from the med bay? See if
Of
there's anything
course.
weird there.
So real quick though, we're gonna transition to scene 4. Guys, go down one momentum.
No.
Yep, your only momentum.
Oh, whatever will we do?
Everybody warm up the
Piloting.
determination.
It's a piloting check. Whatever will we do if we have no momentum?
Famous last words.
So this is gonna be a reason plus science difficulty 4, assisted from the ship's sensors plus science.
Oh, well, that's interesting. One moment. Sorry, I'm in away from my keyboard. I did not think it was gonna be that high. That's unfortunate. Well, I think a determination's in order. Knowledge preserves us from the ignorant, spending it toward getting a auto 1.
Okay.
Focuses. I don't think I can get any of these to work here. So, what's our momentum at? 5, 6?
Nothing.
0.
I'm gonna give you enough threat to get myself an extra die.
So 2 threat.
Yes,
So you're rolling 3.
that's correct.
All right.
Pull the trigger.
Nice.
Oh, thank you.
You got a momentum out of it.
You spent determination. That's 3 momentum. So it's difficulty 4.
Captain, I have a read on the on some life forms aboard ship. Barely picked them up. They're infested across the Argo, congregating on decks 7 and 8. Fortunately, they're spread throughout the ship, feeding off the ship's power. Their nest seems to be, according to the sensors, inside the fusion reactor. It's some sort of feeding ground. Showing non-corporeal. That is to say, they can't be seen with the naked eye, sir.
transfer this data to the chief engineer. Haggard to Martel.
Martel here.
Commander von Wartburg is sending you some data. It looks like we've got some entities on board that find your power very appetizing. I suggest maybe you sour the milk.
Understood, sir.
I'll recommend we alert the chief medical.
Make it so.
Bridge to chief medical officer, sending you files regarding a life form found aboard ship. Seeking advice. Over.
I pause as I'm like halfway out the door towards shuttle bay, and I take a look at the data. Is there anything that would immediately strike me as obvious about maybe how to get rid of them, or is it just kind of, hey, these are here?
Hey, these are here.
I say, that appears to explain the light problems Sarul just told me about, but I will, of course, make sure that we don't take these entities down with us on the shuttle. But until I get back, I'm leaving Sarul in charge. And
GM, I don't know if I can get the
Anasis actually outranks her, but okay.
GM, can I use as a question as sci officer if the spread has gone as far as the shuttles as well?
Yes, they have.
Captain, be advised that the shuttles have also have these life forms aboard.
What do they appear to be feeding off of? What type of energy? Anything specific? Where are they
I
collected?
don't think that's a great question. I don't think I have Studious. I think I can't ask that question. Oh, I can. One momentum to get an answer to that. I'm assuming plasma, but it might be something else.
The plasma, essentially.
Can we sour their current sources of feed and create a more attractive, more appetizing source that we could potentially draw them all to and then contain them?
Well, theoretically, we could take warp drive plasma and put it in a container, maybe.
But for some reason, they haven't gone to this warp engine. They went to the reactor instead. They have access to the warp engine already. If they wanted to go there, they would be doing it.
So they're in the fusion reactors and the EPS conduits.
Yes, sir. Mainly around Deck 78 and nesting out of the fusion reactor.
What about introducing a small amount of iron into the fusion reactor? Just a small, tiny bit. It's a heavy metal. It's heavy enough to where it'll disrupt a little bit of the reaction, maybe causing it to sour.
Pass along that suggestion to the chief engineer. See if our ship can even handle that sort of imbalance. I know reactors can be a little touchy when it comes to messing with their balance.
Very well. I will listen. Okay, and she hits her, uses her communicator and goes, "This is Lieutenant Sonadell, Lieutenant Commander Martel."
Yes, Lieutenant.
Have you thought of introducing a small bit of iron into the reactor? Maybe cause a small disruption. Maybe it'll sour it a little.
Yeah, the only issue is that would cause the reactor to overload.
I mean, I'm sure you can handle that.
I'm sure you can handle that, sir.
Sir.
There you go.
Engineer, we're
Jimmy.
going to have to figure out some way to lure these creatures away from their current feed into something else. If we can sour the milk and then provide some sort of honey trap for them, as it were, and then contain them. Can't risk them going down to Trillius Prime or disabling the shuttle on its way down.
I understand, sir. I'm working on a hypothesis right now.
Excellent. Haggard out.
Captain
Question.
advises the doctor that we won't be able to launch until this is resolved, because we risk infecting the trillions below.
Fair enough. Haggard to Marlowe.
This is Marlowe. Go ahead.
Marlowe, belay your movement for the moment. Looks like the alien creatures have reached the shuttle bay. We're not going to risk taking the ambassador down until we can be sure that you suddenly will find yourself without power at 40,000 feet.
Fair. We'll get situated in the shuttle, but we will not launch.
Very well. Haggard out.
Sorry, my question is, can I pick them up as I walk down to the shuttle bay? Can I pick any of these things up empathically?
Nice.
No.
Damn it. I tried. Okay. Well then, she just keeps walking to the shuttle bay.
Exo, you have the con. I'm going to see if I can be of any help to the engineer.
Sir, I have the con.
Haggard heads that way. He does have a fairly decent engineering.
Okay. So, the doctor, Leza, and I'm assuming Lop is accompanying.
Does Leza still need my support, do I think?
Kind of up in the air, really.
I think for safety's sake, you should come along.
That's kind of what I was figuring as well, Doctor.
Alright, three of you head towards the shuttle bay. So, in sickbay, Murphy asks, is Corey okay?
Anasis will kind of turn around from the bed and say, in a way. He's trying to lighten the blow a little bit, but he's not going to lie to them.
Of course not.
I'm afraid something he came in contact with, from what we can tell, we're not sure what it is, but it's caused him to lose brain function. I'm sorry for your loss.
And he looks to the other two, and then back is like, do we have to stay here in sickbay, Doctor?
At this point, he does kind of look at Cerule, because Marlowe doesn't really talk to him all that much.
Yeah. Yes, unfortunately, you're going to have to stay here until the doctor or the captain releases you.
However, I do believe we can relocate either them to another part of sickbay or move their friend.
We only have but so many bio beds, but we can see what we can do.
Wasn't this the isolation ward, though? Because of the spore exposure?
Right, but I think what happened was we literally quarantined all of sickbay,
Okay.
except like this area over to the right. Like that was our makeshift quarantine.
Okay, cool.
So his suggestion is we take Corey and move him where the doctor was just at, so that they don't have to look at the body of their friend.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that.
Yeah. But yeah. So I guess we heft him into the room over here. Yep.
Okay.
And then I guess if Cyril watches him, he'll go back out and kind of try and ease them the best he can.
As you're kind of going about like trying to comfort them, you notice Kayla, one of the female members of this from the crew. Her eyes are kind of like darting, like she sees something, but she's trying to keep calm.
Yeah. Immediately at that point, he goes to start doing neurological scans on her.
Reason
But
plus medicine difficulty 0.
Oh wait, that's the wrong sheet. Wrong sheet. That's the sheet I want. Reason medicine, radiology.
Sure.
Isn't doing another CAT scan. Do we have any momentum?
There's 2.
I will take 1. And yeah.
You're up to 4. They seem normal.
Miss Kayla, are you alright?
I'm fine, Doctor. Just a little shooken up.
Very good. Tell me, how many people do you see in this room right now?
3.
And be honest. Okay. Very good. Kind of notes that down. He also kind of wants to tell if she's lying, but he's not very good at that.
Insight plus command.
Yeah. This will be a fun roll.
Difficulty 1.
I'm going to use momentum. He has no
So down
focus
to-
in this.
Down to 2.
Yeah.
No, you got it.
She
know.
is lying. She is lying to you.
Right. Cyril, if you would be so kind as to join me out here.
What's the emergency?
I believe our friend is about to have an episode. And he goes over and tries to start using the same, well, not quite the same mixture of chems, but Yeah, I'm hoping Cerule has some kind of extra knowledge since they freaked out before Anasis got here.
Doctor, I'm fine. You don't need to do that. Do not.
I'm. While I am normally inclined to take you at your word, your pupil dilation is saying otherwise. And he kind of leans into Cerule. Her pupils were darting around like her friend right before he started convulsing.
I look at her very sternly and I say, I understand you've gone through some trauma recently. Lord knows there apparently is a lot of that recently. Uh, are you sure that you don't see any fancy lights, no additional people?
We're only here to help. It only helps if you're honest.
Give me a command plus presence. Difficulty 2.
I should probably be letting Cerule make these rolls. I apologize for this. You said difficulty 2?
Yep.
Right. I'm gonna go ahead and take both of those momentum and give you a threat for a 4th die. Because he is truly terrible. Altera, when you built him, what were you thinking? He's a doctor, damn it! Son of a...
Wow.
Hey, at least no complications.
Anyway, moving on.
Doctor, do not touch me. Whatever you do not touch me. Whatever you did got Corey killed. Do not touch me. I don't see anything. Okay? I see nothing. Just people standing here in this room.
And Anasis walks away. Lets Cerule take the forefront. Maybe a woman's touch would be a little more handy.
I mean, as long as her vital sign, because she's still in the biobed, as long as her vital signs aren't showing any sign that this is about to be a problem, Cerule isn't going to press the issue.
She remains calm.
He will walk around over here.
Okay.
Like, fine. When you convulse, then I can say I told you so. And he'll walk into this room. That's inner monologue, by the way.
You're out of momentum. We're gonna go to scene 5 here, but go ahead. Go ahead. Who's gonna? Someone want to say something?
No, I think they were going to criticize me.
Captain's on his way to engineering.
Okay.
One thing. Shoot. Hold on. Oh, now it works. Anyway, I'd like to try to scan to see if there's any power sources or places on the ship that these life forms are trying to avoid. Like they're actively keeping away from, like, I don't know, med bay or the ram scoops or something.
reason plus science, difficulty 1. Assisted by the ship's sensors plus science.
And since I succeeded at these guys before, I think testing a theory, I don't remember if it gives me an extra die or it reduces diff. I forget. I'll check. Because I know it involves when you succeeded at a roll before on the same topic.
Additional D20.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. It was in the core book, wasn't it?
Yep.
Of course it was. Check. Nah, I'm not going to add to the threat right now because I don't know what it is. And it's difficulty 1, right? So.
Yep.
Hey.
That's 2 momentum. Just need the ship sensors plus science.
Alrighty. There you go.
They're actively avoiding the warp core.
They're actively avoiding the warp core?
Yep.
Bridge to Chief of Engineering.
Martel here.
Wanted to advise you that according to my scans, it looks to be that the life forms are actively avoiding the warp core. And as I understand it, you're the better engineer here in this, but as I understand it, the only major difference between the warp core and the rest of the power system is that it utilizes antimatter.
True, the secondary reactors use more of a fission-based power generation.
That would be my advisory to you. Then they are actively going out of they are avoiding the warp core as much as possible. So, do with that information as you will. Oh, and be advised, the captain is heading your way if you haven't already been told.
Thanks, Commander.
Morgan's going to pipe up and say, Commander von Wartburg, do you have a
Hi,
moment?
sir. Yes, Lieutenant.
Yeah, so I was thinking, I mean, if they're actively avoiding the warp core, I mean, I'm not as familiar as, yourself or engineering would be, but is there any radiation that typically comes off the warp core? Or is it a pretty self-contained unit?
Well, let me think about that for a moment. I mean, theoretically, some radiation would be happening during an energy reaction like that. I'll look up on the ship's computer to see what radiation comes off of a antimatter reaction. Like if there's a special type of radiation only an matter-antimatter reaction creates.
It would be Omicron radiation, if I'm not mistaken.
Computer says Omicron radiation. Looking up on the computer, is there anything else that can emit that other than a matter-antimatter reaction? Like anything else on the ship, I should say.
No.
It's a good thought, Lieutenant. Go ahead, GM.
As part of that question, for your free one, no. There's nothing else. It's specifically from the annihilation of matter and antimatter.
That was a good thought, Lieutenant Morgan, but it seems that according to the ship's computer here, the only thing on the ship, the only thing that creates that reaction is the matter-antimatter reaction. But that may be that specific type of radiation there might be avoiding.
Yeah, sir. I was thinking it's possible maybe, the radiation or some sort of more or less the waste product coming off the engines could be poisonous to these creatures, and that might be why they're avoiding it, even though it would be a power source.
So the Omicron is the sour.
Yeah, you can introduce the radiation into the EPS system. It shouldn't cause that big of a problem.
I don't think you're there, Sonadel. I think you're
Oh
all the way
yeah,
to the
I
shuttle
know.
bay.
That was just.
I know, it's not
thinking
again.
out
It's
loud,
fine.
sorry.
Technically, you guys in a pseudo-scientific method right now.
Yeah, really.
More or less.
At this point, Haggard will stroll into engineering. Where are we at, Lieutenant Morgan? I'm sorry, Lieutenant Commander Martell.
Well, apparently they're avoiding the warp core. The only thing I can think of right now is it's the Omicron radiation. My best guess would probably be having the doctor inoculate us against radiation and flooding the ship with it for a little bit.
Can we not more specifically just flush the EPS conduits with it?
I mean,
that
I
seems
could
to be where they're congregated, there and in the secondary reactor.
Yeah, I can do that, but I mean, even then, we're still going to have to get inoculated against Omicron radiation.
I believe Wolfgang kind of answered the question that they're kind of all over the ship.
But they're feeding the EPS and the...
Right. So they're just randomly floating in the hallways as people walk by, and they don't see them.
So
Captain.
it'd be best...
Oh, go ahead. Captain to Marlowe.
Marlowe here.
How long would it take to inoculate everyone on board the ship against Omicron radiation?
I'm sorry, you said Omicron radiation?
Am I not saying it right?
No, that's completely in character, him asking that.
Oh. Yes, Doctor. That does seem to be what we're talking about.
Sir, there are ways to inoculate against it, but in large part, it's toxic to most humanoid life.
Understood, Doctor. I look at the Chief Engineer. We need a different plan. How can we make... if they're avoiding Omicron radiation, what kind of radiation are they digging?
My best guess would probably be theta radiation.
Well, if we can't sour their milk, as it were, let's make a more effective buffet for them somewhere. We need some way to generate the kind of power that they seem to like best. I'm going to do an open channel with the bridge. Commander von Wartburg, is there a type of radiation or energy that these entities seem to be drawn to more than any other?
Stand by, sir. I'll check. I'll look over the scans real quick, see if it's anything in particular. Actually, GM, is there anything? Actually, I'll ask the engineer because I just realized that's an engineering question, not a science one. Actually, sir, I have a theory. I assume, I believe we could ask the chief engineer if there's any particular type of radiation the reactor is giving off. The fusion reactor is what's attracting them the most. That's where they're nesting. So one could speculate that that is whatever is being generated there is what they want.
Engineer?
I know this is something that my character would know, but I, as a person, don't know it.
It's kind of a mixture of alpha and beta radiations from the reactor.
Okay. So literally, he's gonna look at the captain and go, a mix of alpha and beta.
All right, we need to produce a lot of that radiation in a contained space where we can draw these creatures into it and theoretically seal them out. What information do we have on the creatures themselves? Do they seem...
Incorporeal. They move around as they wish. Check my read up real quick. Very hard to detect on sensors. They're tiny. They don't seem to have any particular inclination to stay around their nest. They just spread out wherever. That's all we really know about them without further study.
Understood. So perhaps something to entice them in and then get them off the ship and have whatever containment device, have some sort of antimatter chamber that once they're off the ship it eliminates them.
Wouldn't the engineer be able to make a mock-up secondary reactor?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Something that will produce more of the radiation they like, but then once we attract them, how do we get rid of them? Because they're not just in the reactor, and they're incorporeal, so how do we contain them?
You build a sensor, and I would suggest like having the generator in a containment unit field thing, and then flood it with said radiation. But that's me. If you want to just take them and fire them off into space, maybe a force field or two, I don't know.
So, real quick, because we're going in circles, I looked up Omicron radiation, and actually, it's not as bad as I originally thought. Apparently, on Enterprise, the inoculation they gave to Tucker supposedly would last for 12 years. So, technically, we could just inoculate everyone and flood the ship.
Ah. And that was going to be my next thing, Commander Wolfgame. Can we possibly communicate with these creatures?
Make determination now to see if I can suppose sentience. But a couple of the steps off the top of my head, reproduction, feeding habits, and so on might indicate sentience, but then again, that could indicate animalistic behavior or instinctive behavior. I'm going to scan more to see if I can figure it out, sir. Not that I can tell, sir. Nothing in the scans are indicating specific sentience. That may be either because there are no signs to see, or we just haven't been observing them long enough. But at this time, I can report. I can only report I cannot detect sentience or sentient behavior.
Even if they were, how do we communicate to them unless, well, Avlop could mind meld with the crew person who is currently seeing them, but I don't know if that would accomplish anything or not. So yeah, if we can inoculate everybody, What would the time frame on that be, Dr. Marlowe?
If we put it in gaseous form and flood the entire ship with the gas, 10 minutes.
All right. If you can have enough of the inoculant synthesized to bring it down here to engineering, and Engineer Martell can hook it through the ship's air circulation system.
I will have Cerule there momentarily, and I coordinate with Cerule so that she shows up with the inoculation in short order.
All right. So real quick though, how long are you gonna then vent the once everyone's got a healthy dose in their system? Are you gonna vent the actual ship of the inoculant? Because in my mind, that would kind of nullify the Omicron radiation.
Yeah, I would suggest that we take an extra 30 minutes and have Anasis and Cerule just hypospray everybody.
That's
Or
700
anybody.
That hypo would take way too long.
Yeah, that's 750 people.
Well, or anybody with any kind of medical, like, even if it's like, hey, I took an aspirin once. Well,
No, it still would take way too long just to get 750 hypos ready.
Yeah, so I think the thing to do is release the aerosol, wait long enough for it to have affected everyone, and as far as that goes, we can alert the crew to place themselves in whatever positions on the ship will allow for maximum exposure, and then we exchange the air, and then we flood.
And I want it on record that Marlowe, once this is the plan of action that's been decided, he's going to do that small scale on the shuttle. Because this is a ticking time clock,
Yep.
and the more he sits here doing nothing,
Right.
the more his patient gets in trouble.
Right. Ensign Mira, put me on all ship, please.
Yes, sir. And she.
This is
Does
the
that for
captain.
you?
This is the captain to all crew. We have non-corporeal beings on board that are currently feeding off our power supply. We have determined a way to eliminate this threat. It requires flooding the ship with Omicron radiation. This will not be a danger. We're going to first aerosolize an inoculant and run it through the ship's air circulation systems. However, to ensure proper coverage, I'm advising all crew people to proceed to the nearest mess hall, recreation deck, or other common area where the gas will be most concentrated. Captain out.
So, question. I assume that the doctor is inoculating us so that we can, because our shuttles have warp capability, meaning they have a warp drive, meaning I can do this in the shuttle, and then we can just leave.
That was the idea, yes.
Okay, that's all I was wondering, because the moment everybody's inoculated, she'll understand and gas the shuttle, so to speak.
Captain, I have a suggestion.
I'm sorry, what?
Captain, I have a suggestion for you. Since we're not, since these are identified life forms and we're trying to minimize as much damage as we can, perhaps we could send one of the other shuttles out away from the ship and have it be somewhere they can flee to. That way, we're not just pushing them out. We're not just eradicating a life form. We're pushing them off ship and away from our shuttle, and then we give distance, launch our shuttle, the medical shuttle. Because otherwise, we're just venting them out into space or eradicating them completely.
That's a fair point. So we'll need to rig up a fusion reactor on board that shuttle. However, I'm concerned that if we leave these entities at large in a populated system, that they'll move on very quickly to the next power source on Trill. without any way to really contain them, XO, I think they present such a danger that eliminating them may be our only choice.
I might recommend, sir, that we use. We could put the shuttle at some distance or push it away with the tractor, and then have it have probes put around it as a buoy, so that way future researchers can determine what we can do to give these life forms somewhere else to go.
Hmm.
But you're cool, of course, sir. Just advising you.
Wait, so these creatures like fission fusion radiation, correct, engineer? I'm going to go with yes for that, since it's a backup fusion reactor. We have an immense fusion reactor at our disposal, Argonauts.
Oh, we lost the chief engineer.
Yep. Captain to Ensign Haran.
Ensign Haran here, sir.
Ensign, as soon as the shuttle is away, take us break orbit and put us in a close orbit around the primary star of this system.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I believe that that's probably the juiciest bit of fission and fusion reactions that we'll be able to give these creatures.
Okay, so real quick. For the shuttle, I'm assuming you guys are going to inoculate yourself via hypo, and then pretty much turn the safeties off.
Yep, on it. Yeah, on the shuttle's warp core. Oh yeah, I'm still in an EVA suit.
You
Well,
guys
we
never said you
established
took 'em
earlier.
off.
Well,
Oh,
we
I didn't
established-
know the shift had ended. But that's fair.
Okay. In any event, we'd established that there is like an injection port.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. So. Yep.
Alright, so the speed is long. I'm gonna roll this all up on one because the tracker itself.
Someone call an exterminator.
So this is gonna be a difficulty 4. You need 3 breakthroughs. It is time limited. Work's gonna be 12, so you'll have 6 intervals. Resistance is 3.
What's the rolls that are needed?
So from the way you guys described, I think it's going to be a lot of different stuff. So the first one is going to be a medicine check. That's just to do the inoculations.
Oh, is this for the shuttle only, or for the whole ship?
For all of it, I'm just throwing it all together.
Oh, well, Doctor?
What am I rolling?
I'm going to say control or daring plus medicine difficulty 4.
And ship assist?
I will give you 1 threat and 2 momentum, so I'm rolling 4 die.
Probably going to say no for this roll, but I allow assist from an assist from one of the supporting characters that have been used.
Avlop has medicine 3.
I mean, Cerule has a daring medicine of 15.
Yeah, Cerule will make that roll, because Anasis is only rocking an 11 daring medicine.
I mean, anyone in the medical can assist, so that has a +2. like Wolfgang. But there's just no ship assist for this.
Okay. So anybody with
Alright,
medical
well,
can assist?
Reroll that complication. Which is the 4 successes we need, but let's see if Cerule gets us momentum. She does.
You
She gets us
spent-
1 point.
Okay, so you're back up to 2.
Yep.
Roll 7 challenge dice.
I will give you 1 momentum to do 2 piercing. And then I'm going to spend the other remaining momentum to reroll those 2 zeros.
Okay.
Well, still, 6 minus 1 resistance is still 5.
Yeah, just enough. Alright, the ship begins to flood with the antitoxin for Omicron radiation. And I'm going to spend 2 threat to take 4 off the work track. This complication here is the reason why is the Omicron radiation is not going to be as effective with the current inoculation in the air. So for this next task, it's going to be a control plus engineering, difficulty 3, and whoever has engineering score higher than a 2 can assist. And this is to start flooding the ship with Omicron radiation.
Okay, and I
this
guess
is Martel and Sonadel.
okay, and maybe the captain because I think he has a 2.
I think
yeah.
pretty sure. Well, I've got a 3, but I'm pretty sure Sonadel's got me beat on control.
11.
Yeah, I'm rolling a total for 13. So.
Oh yeah, I got 14.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it good?
Okay, how much momentum do we have right now?
Nothing.
Okay, then
Nothing.
in that case,
Only a few bits.
then in that case, I'd like to spend my determination with nothing is impossible.
Alright.
And I will roll 2 dice. Do I have a focus in anything right now?
Look at your sheet.
The captain.
I'll say yes.
Okay.
I'll
Then
take
that-
the improv.
Okay,
Before
then
you-
in that case.
Before you roll, now what did you do with the threat, GM, exactly?
I took 4 off the work. So you're
Mhm.
down to 1 work. Down on the work track.
We still get our breakthrough though.
Okay,
Yes.
so the captain is going to spend his determination on 750 people depend on me to do make it so, to create an advantage for this current scene, being that we actually managed to change the air. What's happening is as the engineer is putting the Omicron radiation through, he's managing to control it where it's following just behind compartment to compartment as the air is exchanged, thereby giving us that work back.
Oh,
It doesn't work that way, really. I don't think it would. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, ELH.
Run that by me again, because I want to make sure before I give you the wrong answer.
Okay, so my pitch is I'm going to spend a determination to do make it so, to create an advantage for the present scene.
Right.
So the GM got rid of some work because since the inoculant was in the air, the Omicron radiation was not going to be that effective. I was going to
Right.
create the advantage is that what the engineer was able to do was kind of roll out the radiation compartment by compartment directly behind as he's also exchanging the air in the compartment in front. So air exchange, radiation goes in the next compartment, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it it would work like that. You could spend your determination to do that.
And
Um,
that would give us the work back.
well, no, so that's the sticky part.
Okay.
So the advantage wouldn't give us the work back, but it would make our next roll at least one difficulty less.
Yeah, that works. That works then.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking, and I was like, I don't think you could do the work.
Okay,
But
so
I will
let's
allow
reduce.
the difficulty reduce. Yeah, I will
Okay.
allow the difficulty reduce.
Okay.
All right, so it'll be a difficulty
So that's 4 altogether. No, yeah, 4.
2. So 2 momentum. I need 7 challenge dice.
All right. Keep in mind, I do have intense scrutiny and nick of time.
I know. And I'm gonna spend 2 momentum, or not 2 momentum, 2 threat to make it resistance 5. You're not supposed to go above a 4, but knowing you,
Roll them effects, bruh.
We've got another momentum, correct?
Yep, we have 2.
Then in that
yep.
case, I'm going to spend 1 to re-roll the 2 challenge dice, and spend the last one on piercing.
Well, you're at piercing. You're already at 4, so you're at 1 resistance.
Yeah. I'm tracking.
Just take it all away.
That's 12 work.
Nice.
Right.
Making it 13 altogether because you left us 1.
See, I count 10.
I think one of his talents gives him extra work.
That's right.
Nick of time creates
So that's
extra
2.
work. Perfect.
Yeah, that's right, 2. Perfect. So yes. Yep. That will actually complete the extended task. The ship
Nice
is
work,
flooded
everybody.
with Omicron radiation. And sensors show, Wolfgang, that the entities are dying.
Captain, the life forms are perishing as a update.
Understood. I will, of course, take full responsibility for this action, XO, and I'm sorry we had to do it this way.
Noted for the log, sir.
In any event, good work, everyone. Excellent teamwork.
As for the
Bridge.
shuttle,
Yeah, I was going to request permission to leave.
the shuttle does leave during all of that, and you do manage to, when you charged up the shuttle and started emitting the Omicron radiation, you clear the atmosphere, you clear the ship. Your sensors show that there's no signs of the alien life forms in the shuttle, and you head down towards the planet of Trillius. They sent coordinates to one of their medical facilities in the capital, and the shuttle lands there.
Yep. And before she lets the doctor off, she goes, "Don't go getting starstruck now."
I just sort of roll my eyes as I escort my patient out to hopefully waiting arms.
Oops, why am I wrong scene? There we go. Okay, a couple Trill, they're kind of dressed in white surgical outfits. They come to us like, we'll take it from here.
Yeah, Avlop gently disengages the mind meld and with to wishing the lieutenant well. Live long and prosper.
She just nods as she's escorted into the facility.
Well, I think we've done all we can here, Chief. Let's get back up to that ship.
Indeed, Doctor.
Yeah, as they get into the shuttle, well, have a good time.
Just fly, Lieutenant.
I do
Very
not
well.
understand how we were expected to have some sort of good time. We were merely here to deliver a patient and then return to the vessel. I find your wishes most illogical.
It was an attempt at humor, Chief,
Ah,
as she engages the piloting.
humor. It is a difficult concept.
Apparently, it is for Deltons too.
Wah wah.
Ha, 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 ha.
And
I'm sorry, that was my best Americanized British humor. My apologies.
Once we've deconned the ship, the captain will try to set up an appointment for himself and Commander von Wartburg with the Prime Minister Vohan.
Okay. I'm assuming you're returning to the bridge, Captain? Okay.
Yeah.
As you get back onto the bridge, Mary goes, Captain, we're receiving a priority one message from Starfleet Command.
On screen.
It's just one-line message, sir. They're ordering us to report back to Earth pronto.
How does the message read exactly?
Gotta love a recall order, sir.
USS Argo, you're ordered to report back to Earth. We have deciphered some of the data that you've sent us, and we currently have a predicament that is in need of your vessel.
So best possible speed.
Well, Commander, it looks like attempt to try and get more information out of the Trill will have to wait for another day. Ensign Haran, plot a course back to Sector 001, and as soon as the shuttle is aboard, take us there. Maximum warp. Maximum cruising speed. Let's not give our chief engineer further palpitations today.
Aww.
Aye, sir. Answering warp 11.
Yep. When Sonadel gets there, it'll bump up to like 11.2. Just to irk the engineer.
Ooh, there it is. To be
And with-
continued.
Yay! We all lived. We killed a bunch of aliens, but we lived.
Yeah, well, last time